Hello, everyone, and welcome for another series with the four of us here today. So I'd love to welcome you
Hello,
to
hello.
Fabio. Fabio is a therapist, life coach, author, speaker, holistic entrepreneur, facilitator of meditation and self-knowledge processes. He sees himself as a soul hacker, someone deeply interested in studying human consciousness and understanding how it manifests and evolves. He's the creator of holosynthesis, a new integral approach to human development, as well as the founder of the Holoplex Institute, an organization dedicated to self-knowledge research and the development of spiritual technologies for transition, like the app Sync and the Love Mob movement, which I really like, by the way. His purpose is to help people find their enlightened path, fulfill themselves, and be happy. So I met Fabio at a New Year's retreat in Lisbon 2.5 years ago, and I remember we then had an afternoon tea that he just shared his story, and I was just amazed. And then afterwards, Roma met him, and then we heard about the books that has written, and there's quite a few. And I think there was one. So the one that we read was Hyper, that was translated into English, and we're just waiting for the other English books to come out so we could read them. So we're really, really thrilled and happy to be here with us today, all the way from Brazil. So bem-vindo, obrigada, and yeah, looking forward to seeing what comes from this conversation. Welcome.
Obrigado. Eu que agradeço for the invitation. Thank you for the invitation.
Yeah,
Very nice to be
no.
with you again.
Yes, yes. So yeah, I'd love to hear a little bit more soul hacker. Like
Mhm.
what does that mean? What does that mean? How did you come across that term?
You know, for a long time, I look for an expression that translated exactly what I like and what I do. So sometimes I use therapist or facilitator or, author or writer. And it seems that always was missing something. Then after a long time, I, I synthesized this expression that I believe that synthesizes actually what I am, what I like, what is my purpose. The hacking the human consciousness. And when I say hacking, I'm saying, I meaning understand our consciousness, understand how consciousness express itself, how consciousness developed, how consciousness manifest in this world. So it's a never-ending study. It's a never-ending research. So yeah, if I have to choose an expression, I think the best one is that soul hacking. This is my main focus in life: understand consciousness, because I think is the key question, the key focus we should have in order to, to evolve, to develop ourselves, to heal ourselves, and to, you know, get fulfilled in life.
And when you talk about consciousness and gaining an understanding, what brought you on that path? Like what brought you to want to know more and understand consciousness?
Well, it's a long story. It starts when I was a child, almost as everybody, and my first connection with the spiritual world was the dreams. I used to have a lot of dreams in my childhood, but usually happen for everybody, for many of us, I shut down this channel because I was in a family, in a culture that didn't know how to work with a child who had this kind of sensitivity or sensibility or this kind of connection, spiritual connection. What is very common in my generation. So what about 10 years, I shut this channel to the spiritual world. But then after a long, long time, fortunately, he opened this channel, and then I start to receive a lot of informations and connections, and I had a lot of experience that called me to this path. You know, it's a kind of calling that I received, and actually there was a lot of calls, but when I was 35 years, I received a very strong um, flow of energy that disrupted completely my life. This is the story I say in the Hyper book. Then I quit my uh, very well succeed career on corporative world. I quit everything. Then I spent 2 years in a sabbatic, and then finally you know, I get my way back home. I found my way, and then I start to work as a therapist and writer and etc. But I can say that everything started in a big existential crisis, the lack of the meaning that I was seeing in my usual life at the time. You know, I was very happy as a marketing director of MTV in Brazil. You know, a lot of fun, money, parties, artists, travels. I was very happy. But suddenly, you know, one day I wake up and it didn't make any sense anymore for me. Just like that. I couldn't see, I could be happy again. I couldn't see any kind of meaning in that life. I realized that I was completely out of my way. And then I started this journey to find myself.
I highly recommend people to read his book. It's phenomenal. Your story, it's incredible. Thank you for sharing that. Um, so now, fast forward all of these years, and you've created these amazing movements. There's the Love Mob movement. When did you start creating that?
Well, it started when I was in Portugal. I was traveling to Portugal, and I always, you know, my first book, Holoplex, it's a very technical book. Né? It's a book for people who really want to study, to go deep, and the study of consciousness. It's not an easy book. Hyper, it's a very easy book because it's flow like you know, a fiction, and it's easy to read and get it. And sometimes people complain that, oh, Fabio, I like your work, but I think it's very difficult, your practices and things like that. So I try to create a very simple way for people to meditate, because usually people say that, oh, I can't meditate, I can't, I don't know how to do it, it's very difficult, it's very hard. Create something easy to do. So this I had this idea with Love Mob because I used to have in my life a lot of moments of synchronicity. You know, synchronicity, it's a very interesting uh, thing, let's say, because it's a moment when we have something special happened. We realize that, and usually we don't do anything with that. We just realize, oh, something very interesting happened, a very big synchronicity, it's very strong, and and nothing. So I had this idea in order to how could I use this very energetic strong moment to do something with this, you know, this kind of field that just happens in our lives. So the idea is to do the love move. It's a meditation technique. It's an energetic technique, but we can do it in a very simple way. So when happen a synchronicity in your life, you just close your eyes, take a deep breath, connect with your heart, connect with love, then you send love to your family, to your friends, and to everybody. So the idea is to do this every time that you have a synchronicity moment. Yeah. Then I did the video, the love of video, and I spread, and it was viral. It was a very, very interesting thing. Yeah, so this is the idea, that for us to be connected, to be present in these small moments that happen in our lives, and give a direction to this, yeah, a purpose to this, and improve this, and validate this, and realize that this is important happening in your life. So, do something with that. Don't lose it. So this is the idea.
I love that, Fabio. I love it. I tried it, and I remember watching your video, and then seeing synchronicity in a different way. Feeling like it's not, well, of course, not random, but it's something where you're in alignment in some way, and so to kind of maximize that within your heart resonance somehow through, just becoming present with it is really wonderful. And in your work, you mentioned that you like to help people in their enlightened path. What do you mean by that? What does enlightened path mean to you?
Enlightened path, it's your, let's say, your better path. We can have maybe many paths in life, but I believe there is a kind of one which is better. When I mean better, I'm saying that, we are doing choices, we are making choices all the time, you know. Our life is guided by choices. When you do that every moment in our lives. And my research, I realized that always in each moment, there is a path we can uh, get you to looking for the evolution perspective. It's important to say that I look through this, through the eyes and the perspective of thinking about your own evolution. So each time there is an answer, there is a path which is better considering evolution than others. So the idea is we can do this all the time. GPS, like Waze, for example, you have Waze. Waze suggests a better path for you to get somewhere, you know. And many times we don't follow Waze. Oh no, I'm going to turn right, I go left, I prefer to go left. Okay, then we calculate and then say, well, being here now, the better way to get there is this path, Sometimes we follow, sometimes we don't follow. So we have not a Waze, but we have a wise. I used to say it's the wise, something that there is a better way to get there. When I say there is the path of liberation, when you are free from all illusions, when you are, you can keep all the time connected with your real self, let's say enlightenment. So there is a way to get there. There is a better way to get there. And so how we do that, you can ask, okay, but how we do that? So I used to synthesize saying that my work is helping people to connect with themselves. I don't have to say what you should do or you should don't do. This is not my work. My work is create a field of connection that helps the person connect with himself. Because if he has the connection, he can find the better way, the better answer for all the questions that emerging in our life. So this is my work is very simple, to help people connect with themselves. From this connection, they can do better choices in their lives, So the books, the meditations, the spiritual technologies, and the videos and the workshops, the work with dreams, and everything I do is just to help people connect with their selves.
So beautiful.
It's very simple, but it's very difficult.
Yeah, I was actually about to ask. So if we're talking about connection, how does one know that connection is there, and how do you know it actually when you are working with someone, that person, yeah, there's the connection, there's this point of connection? How do you notice that, and how can one self notice that for oneself?
Well, when we are connected, we automatically knows that. When we are connected, we knows that. If you ask, I don't know if I am connected or no, do you think I am connected or no? So you don't, because when we are, we know. Okay, sometimes you can have some doubts, but usually we know when we are connected. And usually we know when we are not connected too. If you really, get present and breath and, and be in silence for a moment, we know when you are not connected, and we know when we are connected. So for me, when I'm working with someone or with groups, yeah, after some time doing this kind of work as a therapist, like we learn to read energy, so we can feel also when someone is in the way. I can feel when I, work with someone and listen to his voice, seeing her, just looking to their expression, we can feel the energy that the people are in the way, people are not in the way. But it's important to say, the way is not a rigid thing, it's not a fixed thing. It's like the ways, you can, all the time you can actualize, we are all the time actualizing, so it's we can feel when someone and when ourselves are in the way and are connected.
I love that. And you touched on this thing of reading, as a healer or, a practitioner, that you can sense and read. And you do this work called the energetic reading. Can you describe a bit about that? Because there's all kinds of things like 360-degree X-ray of the consciousness, and you can read their current moment in life. I mean, it just sounds like mind-blowing and amazing.
Okay, well, this work I call aura reading or energetic reading or consciousness energetic reading. It's a very interesting work, I can do this specifically, so I'm going to do energetic reading, or what I use most in my work is, I do all the other works, but a kind of, in some way, I am energetically reading all the time. So after some time, realize that I am energetically reading everything all the time, and sometimes I can do that with focus on someone and do the energetic reading. What we do when we do the energetic reading, basically, we read your energy. We read your field translated in images. So your own consciousness liberate, let's say, some image that I see, and then I share with you. So I read your energy through the images. It's similar to the dreams, because the images in the dreams are not the dream. The dream are our energy. What you see in the dreams are images projected in the mind screen. So in the same way, it seems like I'm looking to a screen, your screen, and reading your energy through the images that come up, So we read the field, we read your moment, and then we can read your chakras, the energy of each chakras, and eventually we get to read some past lives. Some past lives emerge. So we read the content that your own consciousness liberate for us.
Wow. How long does a reading like that take?
Usually 1 hour. You can, 1 hour.
What can people feel? Like, is there a difference that they can feel after that, or do they see it in their physical reality? Does something change?
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, people feel, because when you are reading, for example, if I am reading your energetic field, you know, the simple act of reading inside this field of work, you know, it's a kind of processing that image, that energy. So in some way that your energy are being, let's say, mixed, or, you know, changed. So you feel, people used to feel, some people sometimes cry, sometimes people feel, you know, sleep, sometimes, you know, you feel in your body some reactions, depends on your moment, your sensitivity. So yes, you can feel. And then well, usually there's something interesting to me. Each reader has a specific kind of reading. Uh, my reading is more focused. Naturally, that happened. That usually to be more. I read more patterns in my reading. What used to emerge, because the focus of my work, which is, you know, hacking consciousness, is try to see which are the main, you know, energetic patterns, psycho-energetic patterns you have. So when in my reading, that happens, things like that, you know, I can see your some energetic patterns that emerge, you know. So other readers, they have other focus. Sometimes people are more connected with past lives. Some people are more connected, you know, with spiritual connections, with guides on other planets. You know, there are many kind of readers and many kinds of readings. So depends on, so more, my reading is more focused on patterns, energetic patterns.
Wow, I don't know why, but somehow I feel a little bit naked right now, just hearing like, yeah, you can read all of that, and I'm like, oh damn it, does he know all of my patterns right now, just by hearing and listening and watching us? I would be super curious. So is it just that you're working with, through this reading, that you're helping people to create awareness for their patterns, or also that you energetically shift their patterns, or do you help them that they can shift it themselves? And if that is the case, like the latter, is there any like advice that you also can give to the audience here today? If they notice and observe a pattern of theirs, how can they shift it?
Okay. Well, in the reading, it's a kind of mirroring that happens. You know, I am a kind of mirrors, and the person can see herself, you know, her reflected, and then, but the decision to change, it's the person, is not mine. So I cannot change the person. You know, okay, during the reading, we are moving energy. Okay, we are open the field for her to change, but you know, you have to dedicate yourself to the change. You can do this in a very fast way, quantic way, or you can, you know, spend a lot of time to do that. But the main focus is awareness, you know, self-awareness, and then understanding more the reasons and some traumas and why these patterns started and how they developed. You know, it's a kind of, it's things become easier to you know, to change. For example, the first reading I received, because I learned this practice in Bahia, in an eco village in Bahia called Piracanga, you heard about. And I was there just passing, and then I did an astral. I did an aura reading with Angelina, the woman who bring to Brazil. She's a Portuguese who bring to Brazil this technique. And the first reading she did, just in the beginning, she said something. Oh, I'm seeing here you having a life, a past life in Burma, Myanmar, Burma. You know, and then at the time you had a school where you used to practice astral travel. You know, so it's a very specific thing to say, because it's not said that you are living in China, that everybody lived in China also because China, it's a lot of people, or you know, in a big country. Now, Burma, Myanmar, it's a very small, I know, not very famous country in the world. She was very specific. And she also shared about the astral journey, what at the time I was having every night. So it also was very specific. in that way, this helped me. Well, this helped because validate everything I was living at the time, So yes, okay, a kind of confirmation I received from my own consciousness through her, about yes, this is the way everything is happening. It's okay, you are in the right path now. Just go on. So help me to go on in my life, because I realized that this is the way. It's a very clear confirmation. It's a very clear. Let's say also like a synchronicity happens. Some a kind of confirmations we receive when we are in the right path. So it's an example there how the reading can help us change and move forward in our life.
It's nearly like when you receive this kind of confirmation of someone that is your mirror in that moment, there is a sense of I can feel safe with what has been happening within me, and hence I can like there's an understanding, hence I feel safe now. It's not wrong anymore, or it's not unusual, or it's not strange, or I'm not lost in it anymore, because there's a confirmation of someone that is actually telling me it's true and it's all right. That's beautiful. Yes. And like that, I imagine that a lot of people through that mirroring can actually understand the patterns that don't serve them, and hence they can actually let go of it in a safe space.
Yes, exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. In the end of the day, how they used to say, we work as a channel for the person. It's like her own consonant are sending messages through us, to her to get there. So if you are a clean channel, it works very well.
Fabio, I wanted to ask you, I mean, your book was fascinating. There's a couple of questions, but I'll go with one of your main bodies of work, which is about dreams and how you use dreams to, first of all, train yourself to astral travel, what that really means to some of the viewers might not be aware of what that is. And then really, what is the impact of being conscious in our dreams? Like how does that impact our lives on this side of reality?
Okay. Well, when we are awake inside the dreams, we used to call this the lucid dream. We are lucid dreaming. This is a very sophisticated technique developed by many spiritual traditions like yoga, like in China, especially in Tibetan Buddhism. They call yoga of dreams, the dream yoga. It's this training. It's very interesting because when you are lucid in the dream, you are in a kind of God state because you can create everything around you. You can decide in which place you want to be. You can decide who is going to be there, and you are the creation. You are the creator of this world. So it's very interesting, to be in God, to train to be a God, because you can see how it's a very hard work. It's not easy to be a God. It's a big responsibility, and it is very complex to be a God. But in some way, when we practice to do that, we can evolve very fast in our consciousness, exactly because this kind of a challenge we meet, and the Buddhists used to say that life is a dream. Life is a dream. And then when you train to wake inside the night dreams, you are training to wake up in this life, to get free from samsara, to get free from all the illusions. So training to have lucid dreams, it's a training to get enlightened in this life, to wake up in this life.
So how do you do that?
How do you? Well, you should know the Dream Master online course. Well, You know, I like very much dreams. I do this work with dreams in many different ways. The lucid dreams training is the top of the work, the dream work. You know, first you need to remember, then you need to understand the meanings and interpretations, and then you need to work to learn how to interact with the dreams. Then you need to understand how to get inside the dreams, and then finally how to activate the dreams and use them, for example, as a lucid dream. So it's a kind of training, you know, it's a gradual training. Some people have lucid dreams very easily. Some people, it's very difficult to get there, but it's accessible for everybody. But it's, like everything else, it's a training, you know. Because of that, I developed some meditations. Homa had the opportunity to see because she did the Dream Masters. What I did in these meditations, I create a kind of platform, a kind of tool that, you know, helped people not only to remember and interact with dreams and having lucid dreams. How? It's a meditation if you do before you go sleep, you know. I did with a sound healer who create a specific sound track and a specific frequency track. So there is the music track, there is my voice guiding the process, and there is also in a deeper layer frequencies that induce you to get in theta wave frequency, which is let's say one of the good frequencies for you to get when you decide, when you want to program your consciousness. So the idea is to use these, you know, these three layers, the guidance voice, the music, and the frequencies, the theta waves, to facilitate you to get inside the dreams field. As to say, o campo dos sonhos and the dream field. It's a field of energy and information. Once you get there, inside this field, it's easily you to manage, to work, to interact, to program, and to edit your dreams. And also to program yourself to have lucid dreams.
Guys, this is why it's so important to have a dream journal, and it's definitely been a beautiful reminder for me to really take that on now.
Yeah, this is a very important tool to write the dreams, you know, because when you write the dream, what happened? First, you can remember. Second, you strengthen your connection with the field of dreams, with the dream field, you know, because you will start to write, then you start to think, you know, you are what we're doing. You are, you know, you are connecting with the energy of the field. So every time you write a dream, every time you share a dream, every time you think about a dream, every time you dream a dream, you know, you connect with this energy. You strengthen the channel with this field, you know. If you don't do anything with dreams, what unfortunately most of people don't use dreams, don't validate dreams. Né? This connection, you know, with this is strong. It's like the cell phone signal, you know, the sign is not very strong. So it's active, it's always active, but if you don't, you know, connect, if you don't validate, the signal is you know, weak.
And you mentioned something about like dreams carry a certain energy. It doesn't necessarily have its significance, like what you dream of like, oh, I'm in a car and this happens. It's not literal. So is there anywhere, or what do you recommend when you do have a dream to not because I've been asked by a few people, oh, I've dreamt about this and this, what does that mean? I'm like, well, I mean, I don't know, but is it something that intuitively someone is to ask for themselves, or is there a way that a dream interpreter could explain to them what is actually happening in the dreams?
Mm-hmm.
Not go to Google and research, I just saw a cat and a dog. and we all went for a hike in the woods. La la la. I don't know.
Well, you can do that for fun and for inspiration. It's okay. Yeah? I do prefer to consider that we have a personal dictionary of dreams, you know, because a cat or a dog, well, they are universal for most of us, but not always they have the same meaning for everybody. So there are many ways to work with dreams. There are, I synthesize in three different approaches to dreams. The first approach is the analytical one, when your focus is to interpret the dreams, to decodificate the dreams, try to understand the meaning, you know, so you try to, oh, this mean that, this, you know, your focus is on interpretation, on analysis. Okay, this is the work of psychoanalysis, for example. But there are other approaches, and I like to work with all of them together. The second approach is more like interactive. It's not so important to understand the meaning of the dream. It's much more important to connect it with the energy of the dream and interact with the dream. So it's more important to write, you can paint the dream, you can sing the dream, you can dance, you can share, you know, you can do whatever you want. You can paint the dream, you can make a movie, write a song, you know. This is the interactive approach to dreams. It's very interesting because it's very creative. A lot of people prefer doing that than, you know, being so analytical and so closed in the meaning. And then the third approach is the transcendent one, which is like, doesn't matter the meaning, doesn't matter interactive dreams. What is important is for you to be awake inside the dreams, is the lucid dream training. So there are three different approaches to dream, and the three of them, all of them, they are very valid. And what I prefer to do is to integrate all these approaches and use them considering, you know, the situation. So sometimes I interpret my dreams. You know, I try to see the codes, decode my dream, and go deep in the analysis. But sometimes I just, I can read, I can remember, I can just think about it. I don't need to do something so analytical. And sometimes, in some dreams, I use as a platform, as a portal to get to spiritual, to another dimensions, you know, to get spiritual access. So you use them, you know, depending on the situation. The main thing when we do this training is to learn how to read the energy of the dream, because we have a lot of dreams. We dream, we stay in the REM state, which is the frequency during the night when we are, you know, REM state is the dream state. You usually spend 1.5 hours in this state during the night, considering you sleep 8 hours. So you can imagine how many dreams we have every night. So if you remember 1, 2, or 3 dreams every night, you cannot work on all of them all the time every day, because they are a lot of dreams. So the main training is to learn how to read the energy of the dream, because a lot of dreams I don't do anything with them, because I see the energy and I look into the energy, reading the energy of the dream. I say, no, this dream is not important for me to work. I don't need to spend time in this dream, but I need when I have energetic, you know, relevant dream at night. Oh, this dream is important. Then I write down, then I do analysis, then I do everything, because I know, because I see the energy of the dream. This dream is important for me to work on, you know, because I know we have a lot of dreams. I cannot work in all of them. So it's important to make a selection. And the way you do a selection is reading the energy of the dream. So you know when you have a dream, strong, a vivid dream, or a very significant dream, or sometimes you have a dream that you wake up inside in the middle of the night with that dream, you know, oh, this is an important dream. You wake up with, you know, so invest some time and energy in, you know, in that.
Wow. And when you say reading the energy of the dream, the way I interpret that is reading my emotions or my feelings, or the yeah, like the emotions, the energy of the emotions that are in that dream, or is it more like the theme, or a mixture of all?
Yes, it's a mixture of all, but it's also reading the energy, the intensity of the energy of that dream. You know, there are dreams that are very soft, and then there are dreams that, you know, so everything is so intense, is so vivid. The colors are vivid, you know, the feelings are strong, and everything. It seems people used to say, oh, I had a dream that it seems that it was real life, you know. So because they are so vivid, so you exactly read the energy, you know. You see the how many dream pixels that you know, how intensity, how vivid it is. But also, as you said, you can identify all the emotion or the significance of the theme that appear, or the relevance of the person who appear in this dream, you know. So you can other elements that you put in this basket when you see, try to understand if it's an important dream or not to work on, you know.
I see, I see. And is it because the way I've understood dreams before as well is that it's your subconscious speaking to you? And so is there an element of that, of kind of learning what your subconscious is telling you? There's also dreams where there's almost like prophetic dreams. And so is there a way to discern like what is my just my mind, and then like a deeper meaning, my subconscious working through it? Or do you have some insight on what what the dreams are kind of useful for in a way,
Mhm.
in
So
understanding?
this is something that you learn with time, with practicing. You know, you need some practice. And then when you start to practice, you can understand, realize that there are all different kinds of dreams and different intensities. And not only from the subconscious dreams. See, most of them are from subconscious, but we also have dreams from infra-conscious. We have dreams from supra-conscious, and we have dreams from collective conscious and conscious. So the dreams come from different dimensions of our own consciousness. You know, the subconscious is the closest one, but we have deeper deeper in higher dimensions also. For example, as you said, premonitory, let's say precognitive dreams, they usually don't come from subconscious. It's more probably they come from the supraconscious, because they come from another reality which is beyond space and time. So you know, you are bringing information from a very high dimension, probably. The subconscious are more things that are more close to us in our field. For example, dreams from collective consciousness or collective unconscious, the same, you know, they come from a very high potent field around us. So there are many kinds of dreams. They come from many different places. So this is the reason why it's so interesting to work with dreams.
It's super interesting when you say all these different layers. Is there a way to set an intention before you go to bed to connect with one of these?
Yes, sure.
Yeah, there is. So you could practice and train yourself to say, tonight I would like to connect in and dream with the collective consciousness.
Yes.
Like, yeah, okay,
Yes,
cool.
exactly.
I'm
You
intrigued.
program.
Oh, sorry for that. Go
No,
ahead.
you program your dreams. You can program your dreams, you know. So this is why I developed this meditation, because there was one of the meditations which are only, there is no there is without my voice, only the music and the frequencies. Then you use it before you go sleep. And then you can use, for example, to program. You know, I want to dream with my, you know, grandmother. I want to dream with collective unconscious. I want to dream with a past life. You know?
So if you're working with sound and frequencies, does that mean that certain frequencies support you in connecting through to certain dimensions or layers, or like a very specific frequency helps you, for an instance, to connect to the collective consciousness? Is that how I can imagine it, or it's not that easy?
Well, yes and no. Yes, we use sound and frequency to modulate our own consciousness in order, our states of consciousness. And then inside that state, we are, well, let's say, open to access some kind of information. But it's very singular and particular because, you can induce a lot of people at the same time to go to the same frequency inside their brain, but the experience will be completely different. Some people are gonna have beautiful trips to other dimensions, and some people go to the hell. So they are in the same state of consciousness. You never can. You can ask for. You can induce. You can project and program what you want. And put your intention, but what exactly is going to happen, you will never control in some way. So we use sound and frequencies to get to you to a state of consciousness where it's more easy and more efficient to program your intention. Because you can say your intention just my intention is that, like something like a bubble. But you can go deep inside your conscious and put the seed of your intention in a deeper layer. So it's much more probable that you're gonna get the intention when you put the seed in more deeper inside yourself than you when you say just outside. So all the idea is how we learn to navigate inside our consciousness and in the world also. So actually, I'm developing now my new course. I'm gonna call Navigator. The idea is just like that. How we navigate in transition and how we learn to navigate inside ourselves, and how we activate the navigator inside ourselves in order to navigate transition.
I'm curious now, especially because you're also talking about transition. Like, how important would you consider right now to actually connect to your dreams in the times that we're in this very moment? And also for you, like for you yourself, have your dreams shifted lately? Like, just out of curiosity. I know it's a very personal question, but
yeah. Yes, it's a very good question, because I have these groups of we work with dreams, and I have seen to them and that look, it's very important more than ever now to get connected in general sense, but in specific sense to your dreams, because we are receiving a lot of information, a lot of instructions, a lot of tips for us ourselves individually and collectively. So this is a very important moment we are living now collectively. We are in the peak, let's say, I hope it's the peak, the transition. We are in this process of transition. I have been working with this subject of transition since 2015 with more focus, and now we are seeing what is going on. We are in this process of it's a big transition. We are to a new field, to a new consciousness, to a new era. We don't know exactly what is going to be, but we are in the process. I think now everybody believes that we are in transition. In the beginning, nobody understands, and a lot of people didn't believe we are going to happen or to live things like that we are living now. But in times like then, it's very important to be connected with dreams, because the dreams, it's a channel of information with our spiritual dimension. So let's use it. So, for example, I did a meditation on Saturday now, It's 4/4 2020. I did I called a global sync meditation, and it was a very, very strong meditation, probably one of the most strongest and deeper group meditations that I facilitate. And since then, I have I have been dreaming in a very different way. I have, for example, this night I had many. I can see when, because we dream our energy. The dream, it's a mirror. It's a mirror of our energy. We dream our energy. Our energy, it's a multidimensional field. Okay, most of them it's our own energy, but we also dream with the energy around us, with the person who is our side, the person who is in the house we are in, and also with the energy of the field we are inside, the collective field. So with time you can see which dream is it's a personal dream, it's my energy I'm dreaming, or it's a collective dream. So this night, for example, after this, because we did this meditation, this used to happen when I do groups, work with groups on the group meditations. It's very common. I have a lot of dreams that they are not, they are connected with me for sure, but they are not my energy, because I dream the energy of the field of the group. So this night I had a lot of dreams. They are not particularly of my energy, but they are particularly from the group. So I can understand better the group, the energy of the group, the kind of aspects, questions, problems and challenges. I can see, understand more the energy of the group through the dreams I had this night. So when we enter groups, when we facilitate groups, we can use dreams to receive the information from the group in order to understand the group. So I used to say, dreams they are not our friends. They are all the time trying to help us, even in our work. So if you work with people, if therapy, if you work, facilitating, if you work with energy and consciousness, it's a very good tool. It's a very good way to, a very good tool to use the dreams.
And that actually really segues really naturally into my question, which is, how can it impact your life? I feel like the more conscious I am in my dream, the more conscious I am in my waking life, and vice versa. Like if I've done practices where I become very conscious of the room around me, every single detail and everything, and then that mirrors my awareness in the dream as well. And do you have any short tips that people can maybe try out, to like begin opening that awareness up?
Well, I think the main tip is try to understand and validate your the spiritual aspect of your life. Sometimes we are so stressed with life. We are so focused on goals, and we are so deep in the matter, and then we forget from the spiritual dimension of our life. We forget the dreams, we forget the synchronicity moments, we forget purpose in life, we forget higher goals, we forget different and many aspects of our spiritual life. So how can we don't forget the spiritual dimension of our life? Because we cannot, it's very, the meaning we find in the material life is very limited. And he has a valid time. You can find for some time meaning in having a materialistic and only a physical way. Okay, but it's we get some time in life, the meaning goes away. It's this goal has some, valid time expires. The valid time expires. So we never will gonna feel, fulfilled or completely happy or completely realized or completely enlightened if you don't integrate and accept and develop and take care of our spiritual aspect, the spiritual aspect of our life. And this is not very complicated, because for me spiritual life is not very difficult. Spiritual life is not a complicated thing. Actually, is the easiest thing in life. Is the most natural thing in life is the spiritual life. You can summarize it in many different ways, like be good and do well and just be present. Just take care of the others. Live love, try to connect with love. These are very simple, but most of the time difficult things for us to implement in our life, but they are very natural. They are very simple. A lot of people used to say, oh, I never remember my dreams. It's impossible to remember my dreams. Then I ask them to do this exercise, before you go to sleep. Ask to yourself, tomorrow in the morning when I wake up, I will remember the dreams. Most of them always remember the dreams, always start to remember the dreams. Why? Because it's a very natural, it's a human thing, it's ours. It's ours already. Like spiritual life, it's ours already. We are already there. We are spiritual beings, having a physical experience. So it's so natural, it's so simple. But because of many things during the way, culture and things, that the way we do things, we create a lot of obstacles to this kind of connection. So the main tip is, don't forget, we are spiritual since our birth, since before the birth, since our spiritual birth, which is infinite in time. I don't know if I answered your question.
Wow, I think you did so well. And I'm like, this was just so beautiful right now. Thank you so much for saying these words, because I really have, like, it's what you're saying, in a way it is simple, but like really sitting down and giving yourself the opportunity to just do these practices of connecting regularly, because this is it, it's just that, it's just sitting down and putting an intention to, okay, I'm connecting right now. Or also just doing these practices. This is why I have the feeling, at least when I have a regular, for instance, meditation practice or so, my dreams start getting stronger, or I can remember my dreams better. And the same goes when I actually integrate practices of gratitude into my life. Then suddenly also my dreams are getting stronger, because I just create this conscious moment of saying, hey, thank you for all, which creates that connection in the end. And I think you just put it so beautifully in words. It's like, it was so lovely, such a lovely reminder. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Is there a way to connect with your guidance, your programs, if you are speaking English? Because I understand that most of your work is in Portuguese. But is there something, or do you have plans to do that? Yeah.
Yes, I have plans to start to translate my work, other books, and my work, doing that in English. So yes, is in the planning to do it, and I would love to do that actually, because well, with Corona now, I don't know when I'm going to come back to Portugal. In Portugal, we also speaks Portuguese, but in Portugal there are a lot of people from Europe, and I need to do it in English. So I have been doing these workshops there in Portuguese, but I intend to do that in English too. And so
one of the first would be with us to do an
yes,
English workshop. Yes. Well, everyone, join in to Fabio's English workshop. Amazing. Is there anything else, girls, that you would like to, ladies?
I think just that one. I mean, you know, we just went through this 444 portal. What is your take on it, Fabio? When we have these very can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. So when we have these very special days where you know people say that the energy is really high or there's a planetary alignment, we can use meditation and dream work in that way to connect further.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I used to do, you know, we have the egregora. Egregora, it's a group on WhatsApp where we do this monthly meditation. The basically idea is to do the meditations in energetically strong moments, especially considering astrological aspects, you know. So some kind of transits or the full moon, usually do the meditation the full moon. Why? Because then we use the energy of the full moon to, you know, to enhance, you know, to get this energy to potentialize the effects of our meditation. So the idea is to do meditation and align with the higher flux of energy, the higher movements of energy inside of them we are in. So there are, you know, many waves of energy around us. So the idea is to synchronize our own energy with these high waves, you know, especially using astrological references. But we do also in other situations too. For example, sometimes people ask sometimes, oh, but there is a portal this day, blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure if there is a portal or not, but there are so many people connect at that moment, you know, thinking of that and doing meditation. Maybe we can open a portal because there are a lot of people. So in some way we can create a portal that originally was not there, you know. Sometimes happen things like that. So, well, I try to synchronize the meditations with these good energetic moments just to get more energy, you know, in the meditation.
Well, I look forward as well to the workshop. And is there something maybe we can expect for it, like a meditation that you might share with us, or maybe some dream work tools or something like that?
Yes, well, in the workshops, I used to do a kind of synthesis of everything I research, you know, a kind of mixing many different tools, considering the field of the group. So depends on the group, depends on the moment, you know, depends on the process. But I have a very big menu of tools, energetic tools that I can use on the situation. So dream work, synthesis work, multidimensional work, meditation work. There are many different kinds of energetic practices. You know, there is the multiple personalities work, which is very interesting. Also, how you identify your multiple personalities. So the idea of holosynthesis, it's to make a synthesis from considering everything that all the tools we have, you know, breath work, from breath work to yoga, meditation to dreams, you know, we are open, we collect information and tools everywhere, because and considering the moment, what the moment asks for, what considering what the process are asking for, considering what the field are asking for. I adhere to the field. My guide is the field.
I love that. I love that you integrate all these different tools that you've learned over the years, because I feel for myself that I've, gone about life at my own self-development, acquired some tools that I picked from different traditions and teachers and everything. And there's always been this question of, do I keep to one and keep purity? And, because it used to be like that, especially yogic traditions and, well, everywhere, Buddhism, you just go with, shamanic is just shamanic, or, like the certain Hindu traditions, you only go with that and you don't integrate. And I feel like we're coming into a time when we are revisiting all parts of ourselves, which is maybe something that you also touch on in your work, your multidimensional self, and then putting it all into one holistic expression or manifestation.
Exactly. I lived this dilemma in my life because when I changed my life, I started to study everything. So shamanic, Buddhism, Taoism, and yoga, conscienciology, psychosynthesis, Jung, and breath work and everything else. Everything else. A lot of things. I studied a lot of things, and I liked it very much. And then one day I realized, well, and now. I like everything. I think everything interesting. I love all the systems. They are so interesting, so beautiful, so creative. How Buddhism Tibetan translate spirituality. Then you see Taoism. It's the same. It's a completely different translation, the same subject. And then you see yoga. Then you see Kabbalah. Then but what I realized from myself, for me specifically, that in this life, the idea was not to be in one and only one approach. But then I found psychosynthesis, which is this psychology that I found when I was completely lost with all these possibilities. Then I found psychosynthesis. Psychosynthesis is a kind of integration of many different approaches. And then I started to work with psychosynthesis. Then, then I found psychosynthesis, which is one approach that is open to integrate all the others. So I answered this dilemma because I don't need to be close to anything. I can study everything. I can research everything. Even sciences now. I'm studying a lot neurosciences now. I'm integrating a lot for sure. All the information comes from sciences in the work. Why not? So I can integrate. I developed this platform. I learned. I study. I research this platform that's open. It's a live platform that integrates everything. So I don't need anymore to be specific to one approach. I can integrate the best of them, the best of each one.
Yeah, I love that. You're like a true alchemist from the future.
And the way of the freedom way.
Yeah. Well, this is the thing that I've always had trouble with. Even just this week, we were speaking about this because I, practice a lot of Kundalini yoga, and Kundalini was way back, and then it's been branched out, right?
Yeah.
And so it's like, how much do you keep to the purity of it, or, also it becomes a different expression. And I feel like naturally the universe wants to evolve and wants to change and bring new things in and combine. So to me, it seems natural to evolve, not to just always be in the purity. Mm-hmm. But yeah, maybe there's a balance with that, with the root.
It's a very personal decision because for a lot of people, evolve could meaning to get in this only approach to the purity of this work and keep there and go deeper inside this work. Okay, it's not very easy to be free from everything and create your own approach. It's very challenging. It's very risky. So sometimes it's much easier to be, in one line and get there, and okay, go deep there, because the you know the purpose is the same. The approach is just the technique, is the language, is the method. But the idea is to use the method as a tool to get this connection. So doesn't matter which tool you use. If it works for you, go deeper, it's okay. In my case specifically, happened like this way because it's a personal issue. I had many lives which I follow: Christianism and Buddhism and yoga and shamanism, and now I am a synthesizer. My work is why I do that, because my work is that, to do synthesis. So the synthesis, when you study everything and then you try to integrate everything. But I'm not sure if it's for everybody to do that. No, depends on your own way, where you are, So it's a very personal decision. And sometimes it's very important to be aware. Sometimes people use this argument that I used now for me to escape, compromise with anything. So it's just a way to escape from the compromise to being following, committed with a method or a technique. Oh no, I like to do that. No, I don't feel that. So you are doing a lot of things and you are doing nothing, So a lot of people use that as escapism. So I'm sure it's not your case, but I see a lot of this happening. So it's important to take care of this.
Yes, I agree. I was just unmuting myself. Yeah, totally. And that's why, like there's a balance, and then it's really, there's no right or wrong. It's really what your intention is behind it and your commitment, of course. Yeah. Thank you. So good, Fabio. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Fabio.
Yes.
Yeah, it was super great.
Beautiful.
Thank you so much.
It's my first English Zoom.
Oh,
yes.
wow.
Yes.
Well done.
Celebrate.
That integrating the English workshops
Yes.
and all of it. Yeah. Beautiful. Well, we will keep everyone posted on when Fabio's workshop is. And yeah, I think that is it for now. Yeah. All right. Thank you, Fabio, again.
Thank you, girls.
And everyone,
thank you so much for sharing.
try and connect to your dreams tonight.
Let's drink together.
Bye.
Together. Bye.
Bye.